Welcome friends and coin enthusiasts to another exciting journey into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins where ordinary pocket change can turn out to be a life-changing treasure. And today we are going to dive deep into one of the most astonishing stories in numismatic history about the 1982 D1 dime USA coin that shocked the collecting world when it sold for an unbelievable $900,000, which is exactly 90 times more than its face value of just 10 cents. And the reason behind this jaw-dropping value lies in a perfect storm of minting errors, mistakes, and intriguing possibilities that turned an ordinary-looking piece of currency into a collector's ultimate dream. So let's start from the beginning and understand why the 1982 D-dime holds such legendary status among coin lovers. Because in the early 1980s the US Mint was going through a period of change in technology, metal composition, and coin production standards, which often led to unintentional errors slipping through the strict quality control. And the Denver Mint in particular, which is marked by the D Mint mark on coins, was operating at full speed to meet circulation demands. But in that rush there were occasions when certain dimes left the mint floor with flaws that no one noticed until years later. And in the case of the 1982 D dime, the main attraction lies in a rare combination of factors, including a possible wrong planchet strike, meaning the coin may have been accidentally struck on a metal disc intended for a different denomination or even a different year, which can completely alter the weight and appearance of the coin. Another possibility is a double die error, where the design was accidentally imprinted twice during the minting process, creating subtle but visible doubling in letters, numbers, or other design features. And in some cases these doubled areas are so clear that even with the naked eye a collector can spot the difference and instantly recognize it as an error coin. And then there's the intriguing aspect of missing or misplaced mint marks, because in 1982 the United States Mint had already made headlines when certain coins such as the Roosevelt dime were released without any mint mark at all, which happened because the small die used to stamp the mint mark letter was accidentally left blank or damaged during production. So if a 1982 dime that should have a D mint mark from Denver instead had none, or had it misplaced in an unusual location, it would immediately stand out to collectors. And in extremely rare cases a coin might combine more than one of these errors, such as being struck on the wrong metal planchet, missing the mint mark, and having double details, which makes it a triple rarity and significantly boosts its market value. And what makes the 1982 D dime even more mysterious is that such coins often remain hidden in circulation for years, because to the average person it just looks like any other dime, and unless someone with a trained eye spots the subtle irregularities, it can pass through thousands of hands without anyone realizing it might be worth a fortune. And when eventually such a coin is discovered, the numismatic community goes into a frenzy, with experts studying every millimeter of the coin to verify its authenticity using microscopes, precision weight scales, and historical mint records to confirm whether it is a genuine mint error or not. And when one confirmed 1982 D dime of exceptional rarity finally hit the auction block, its bidding war was nothing short of spectacular, with collectors and investors from around the world competing to own this once-in-a-lifetime piece of history. And the final hammer price was a staggering $900,000, which is mind-blowing considering its humble 10-cent face value. And the reason collectors are willing to pay such astronomical prices is because coins like this are not just metal, they are tangible time capsules with stories embedded in every scratch and imperfection, representing a frozen moment in minting history that can never be recreated again. And for the 1982 D dime in particular, its value is boosted not only by the rarity of the errors but also by its historical context, because this was a transitional time for US coinage technology and materials, making such mistakes less likely to occur in later years. So owning one is like owning a relic from the final chapter of an era when minting processes still left room for unpredictable and unique outcomes. And another fascinating detail is how these coins sometimes appear in the most unexpected places, such as an old jar of loose change in someone's kitchen, a parking meter return slot, or a bank coin roll where someone unknowingly deposits it among dozens of regular dimes. And that element of surprise adds to the thrill for treasure hunters and coin roll searchers who dream of finding such a gem in their own change. And in terms of physical features, the rare 1982 D dime that reached $900,000 may show slight differences in weight due to being struck on an incorrect planchet, perhaps a copper-nickel blend intended for a foreign coin, or even a blank for a quarter but trimmed down to dime size. And its lettering and date could show doubling under magnification, especially in the Liberty inscription and the numbers in the date 1982 and the "In God We Trust" motto. And if the mint mark is missing entirely or appears faint or oddly placed, then that would be the ultimate confirmation of a major mint error, and while only a handful of such coins have ever been authenticated, the possibility that more might still be out there keeps the numismatic community buzzing with anticipation and speculation, because with millions of dimes struck in 1982 at the Denver Mint, even the tiniest fraction of errors could mean a few more hidden treasures waiting to be discovered. So the lesson for everyone watching is never to underestimate the power of closely examining your change, because you never know when that little silver-colored coin in your hand might be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if you think about it, the idea that an everyday object worth 10 cents could buy you a luxury home, sports car, or set you up for life is both thrilling and surreal, and it reminds us that history is all around us, even in our pockets, and every coin has a story to tell. So next time you come across a 1982 D dime, or any older coin for that matter, take a moment to look closely at the details, the edges, the lettering, and the mint mark, because you might just be holding a piece of numismatic history that could change your life forever. And that is the magic of coin collecting, where patience, knowledge, and a little bit of luck can turn small change into a massive fortune. Where today we dive deep into the amazing story of the 1991 P1 dime USA coin that has stunned collectors, historians, and numismatists worldwide, with its incredible worth of about $0.78 million, far beyond its humble face value of just 10 cents. And as unbelievable as it sounds, this extraordinary value comes from the combination of its rarity, unique mint errors, and the fascinating circumstances surrounding its production that have turned it from ordinary pocket change into a highly prized treasure. So let us explore the reasons why this coin has captured the imagination of collectors, beginning with the fact that the 1991 P dime was minted in Philadelphia, the mint known for producing vast numbers of coins each year. Yet this specific specimen that commands such a high value is anything but ordinary. And while millions of dimes with the P mint mark were struck in 1991, this one in particular features errors so unusual and so significant that they elevate its status to a legendary level among collectors. And the first factor to understand is the nature of minting errors themselves, as coins are produced using massive high-speed presses that strike blank metal discs with immense pressure to imprint the designs. And in such a high-volume process, mistakes can and do happen, but most errors are minor and either caught early or have little effect on value. Yet in the case of the 1991 P dime in question, the errors were dramatic, rare, and perfectly preserved, making them incredibly valuable to those who understand their significance. And one of the most notable errors believed to be present in this coin is a double die strike, where the coin's design is impressed twice but slightly misaligned, creating a doubling effect on letters, numbers, and details such as Roosevelt's profile or the inscriptions like Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, and the date, which under magnification can show remarkable doubling that stands out even to the naked eye. And for collectors, such doubling is a treasure because it proves the coin is a one-of-a-kind product of a unique moment in minting history, and this alone can make a coin valuable. But when combined with other factors, the value can skyrocket. And in this case, another suspected error is an off-center strike where the design is not perfectly aligned with the planchette, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted toward one edge. And this creates an unusual visual appeal because it is instantly noticeable and can make the coin look dramatically different from a regular dime. And collectors love such visual oddities, especially when they are sharp, clean, and well preserved, as they tell a story about what went wrong during minting. And yet perhaps the most intriguing detail about the 1991 P dime is the possibility of a missing mint mark or a mispunched mint mark, as while Philadelphia coins carry the letter P, errors in the minting process can lead to the absence of this mark or to a distorted or misplaced mark. And given how the mint mark is a key identifying feature, any deviation from the norm can create significant intrigue and value, especially if it is verified by experts. And in this case, numismatists speculate that the coin may have been part of an experimental batch or struck with a die intended for another purpose, which could explain anomalies in its details. And this leads to a discussion of how such coins are authenticated and valued, as experts carefully examine the metal composition, the strike quality, the presence and type of errors, and the overall condition, which in the case of a high-value piece like this would likely be mint state or uncirculated, showing little to no wear despite its age. And the rarity of such a combination is what drives bidding wars among serious collectors, pushing prices into the hundreds of thousands and beyond. And part of the allure here is also historical, as the early 1990s were a period of transition in the US Mint's technology and processes, and occasional slip-ups or experiments in this era are well documented, which adds another layer of context and mystery to coins like this. And then there is the human element of discovery, for imagine finding such a coin in loose change or an old coin jar, thinking it is just an ordinary dime only to learn it could be worth a small fortune, and such stories have happened before with other rare coins, fueling dreams of treasure hunting for everyday people. And that excitement feeds the market, because every collector hopes to be the one to find or own such a remarkable piece, and once in private hands, coins like the 1991 P dime often become the centerpiece of a collection, stored in protective holders, insured, and occasionally displayed at coin shows where they draw crowds of admirers. And the high price tag of $0.78 million reflects not just the rarity and errors but also the competitive nature of the coin collecting world, where rarity plus demand equals value, and as more people learn about this coin, interest grows, meaning that even fewer examples will ever be available for purchase as owners hold onto them, and this scarcity in turn drives up the potential price even more, and so the 1991 P1 dime stands as a shining example of how a simple piece of everyday currency can transcend its purpose through a mix of chance, error, and human fascination, becoming not just a coin but a piece of history, a work of accidental art, and a tangible connection to the moment it was struck in the mint, a moment that can never be exactly replicated again, and in the end, its value is not just in the metal it is made of or the denomination stamped on its face, but in the story it tells and the emotions it inspires in those who behold it, reminding us that sometimes the smallest things can hold the greatest worth. Where something as ordinary as a small piece of change in your pocket could be worth a fortune beyond your imagination, and today we're diving deep into one of the most astonishing discoveries in the realm of American numismatics, the 1994 P1 dime USA coin that, despite its humble face value of just 10 cents, has stunned collectors, historians, and treasure hunters with an estimated worth of around $675,000, all because of a combination of rare minting errors, mysterious mistakes, and a unique mint mark anomaly that make it unlike almost anything else ever produced by the US Mint. So imagine for a moment you're going about your daily life, maybe buying a coffee, paying at a parking meter, or counting your change from a grocery store trip, and you notice a simple 1994 dime with a small letter P mint mark under the date, which to the untrained eye seems like any other coin from the Philadelphia Mint. But what if I told you that the coin in your hand could actually be one of the most valuable modern-era dimes in existence? And the reason for that lies in a fascinating story of how coins are made, the extremely tight quality controls at the mint, and how a tiny slip-up in the production process can lead to an error coin so rare that it becomes a once-in-a-lifetime prize for any collector. So let's begin by understanding that the 1994 P dime is part of the Roosevelt dime series, a design first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, and normally tens of millions of these coins are struck each year with precision. But in some extremely rare instances, a coin can come out with errors so significant that they defy the odds, and the 1994 P error dime we're talking about today is a shining example of this phenomenon, with its combination of flaws that make it one of the most desirable pieces in the numismatic market. And while the exact origin of this particular error is still debated among experts, theories range from a double strike mishap to a rare off-center alignment, as well as possible planchette flaws and die misalignments that occurred during production. So let's dig into each of these factors to understand why this coin's value skyrockets far beyond its humble face value, starting with the mint mark error, which in this coin's case is a peculiar P mark that appears either in a slightly misplaced position, struck in a doubled or tripled form, or even shaped differently due to die damage, and this subtle but undeniable difference instantly signals to expert eyes that the coin is not part of the standard production run. Now combine this with potential strike-through errors, where a foreign object or debris gets between the die and the planchette during striking, leaving an unusual imprint or blank area on the coin's surface, and suddenly you have a dime with characteristics so unique that no two are exactly alike. And since collectors prize rarity above almost anything else, these factors contribute enormously to its staggering price. And then there's the matter of potential off-metal striking, where instead of being struck on a standard copper-nickel dime planchette, it could have been mistakenly struck on a planchette intended for another coin, such as a penny, a foreign coin, or even an experimental test piece, which would make it exponentially rarer. And if that weren't enough, the possibility of a double die obverse or reverse, where the coin's design elements appear doubled due to a misalignment in the die hubbing process, adds another layer of intrigue, as these doubling patterns can range from faint and barely noticeable to dramatic and eye-catching, further fueling collector demand. And what makes this particular 1994 P dime so captivating is that it doesn't just have one of these rare traits, it's believed to exhibit multiple errors at once, making it a kind of perfect storm of numismatic anomalies. And while most coins with errors may fetch a few hundred or even a few $1,000, when you have a coin that is both incredibly rare and in top-notch condition, such as being graded mint state or higher by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, the value can soar into the hundreds of thousands, and in the case of the finest known specimen of the 1994 P-era dime, that figure has been estimated at around $675,000, a number that still shocks even seasoned collectors. And here's where the real magic of coin collecting comes in, because unlike other luxury collectibles like fine art or vintage cars, rare coins can still be found in everyday circulation if you know what to look for. So the idea that a small piece of change could be your ticket to life-changing money is part of what fuels the passion of treasure hunters all over the world. Now, to fully appreciate why the market values such coins so highly, we have to consider the laws of supply and demand. As millions of standard 1994 P dimes were produced, but only a microscopic fraction bear the unique combination of mint mark misplacement, strike errors, and planchette anomalies found in the legendary example, so collectors are essentially in a bidding war for something that is almost impossible to find. And with every passing year, as coins are lost, damaged, or hoarded into private collections, the surviving examples become even scarcer, pushing the value ever higher. And when we examine the historical context of 1994, the US Mint was transitioning through certain technological and procedural updates, meaning that while their equipment was highly precise, occasional slips could still happen, and these rare imperfections are exactly what today's collectors chase. And it's not just about the errors themselves, but also about the story behind them, as owning such a coin is like holding a tangible piece of minting history, a frozen moment in time when something went slightly awry and created a masterpiece of rarity. And one of the most fascinating aspects for me is that while large denomination coins or gold pieces naturally attract attention, it's the humble dime, lightweight, unassuming, and often overlooked, that can deliver one of the biggest surprises in the entire coin market. And so if you're a coin enthusiast or even just someone curious about the possibilities hiding in your loose change, this serves as both a thrilling reminder and a practical motivation to check every coin you come across, because you never know when you might stumble upon a 1994 P dime with the exact combination of traits that makes it a true numismatic treasure. And if you ever find one, the path to realizing its full value typically involves having it authenticated and graded by a top-tier grading service, ensuring that its unique features are documented and certified for potential buyers. And from there, it could be auctioned through a major numismatic auction house where passionate collectors compete to own it, often driving the price well beyond initial estimates. And while not every error coin will be worth a fortune, the thrill of the hunt, the possibility of discovery, and the knowledge that history can sometimes be hiding in plain sight are what make coin collecting such an endlessly rewarding pursuit. And as we wrap up this deep dive into the incredible story of the 1994 P1 dime worth $675,000, I hope you're feeling inspired to take a closer look at the change in your pocket, to learn about minting processes, to recognize the signs of potential errors, and to appreciate that in the world of numismatics, the smallest details can make the biggest difference. And perhaps, just perhaps, the next life-changing coin is already in your hands right now, waiting to be discovered, turning an ordinary moment into an extraordinary opportunity that could change your life forever.